Taking you back to our breaking news, and joining us now live on the line from Swift Current, Saskatchewan is Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall. We appreciate you being with us, Premier.
Hi, Karen.
Okay, so you're heading to D.C., and so next week I wonder how this is going to change your itinerary.
Well, it isn't going to change it. It's prophetess timing, I would say. In fact, this very brief report from the State Department, I think it's reason at least for some cautious optimism, but there's a long way to go with respect to Keystone. And by the way, Keystone's important to our province as well. Mm-hmm. It's principally about oil sands oil. The reduction in the differential would mean about $300 million to the Treasury, to the taxpayers who own the resource in the first place, and about $2.5 billion in economic development. So, it's why we've made it an issue. It also, of course, is important in terms of the overall trade relationship we have, and we've tried to be supportive of Keystone in a public way, and it'll feature prominently, but it won't be the only thing we're talking about next week in Washington. And it's true that you have been outspoken about Keystone specifically, so much so that I know you penned a letter, last month, with 10 U.S. state governors urging President Obama to move ahead with this. Do you think he has any reason not to at this point, given today's update? Well, we've been making the economic argument up to this point, and I think it's reasonable to say that they know that argument. We actually see support on both the left and the right for the economic benefits of Keystone. We have trade unions supporting the pipeline, obviously, and from an economic standpoint as well. We also got a record with respect to the environment, if that provides some leeway to the administration, who will now, 45 days hence or some period after that, make the final decision. So I think we need to continue to make the case. I'm very grateful for the program we have. We're happy to be able to work with David Wilkins on these missions when we are heading down, and we're going to meet with that the same Assistant Secretary of State that's been commenting today. Mm-hmm. Secretary Kerry's not taking any meetings in particular, and then a number of key leaders in the House and in the Senate. A chance to make one speech and another shorter speech, and it'll obviously be about energy and the trade relationship. But I think this is a hopeful development. We see the State Department confirming that whether Keystone goes ahead or not, it's likely not to impact the rate of expansion in the oil sands. That's in today's piece. The other highlight of it is that there's no particular environmental concerns. That shouldn't surprise us, because the State Department felt that, frankly, before the rerouting in Nebraska, which was a concern. And so those are a couple of positive things. But I don't think we should be complacent as Canadians. We should be making the case for Canadian energy,
right,
and North American energy independence. And so we'll continue with our program next week.
Premier Wall, are you pleased to see, in terms of progress, that American lawmakers are finally coming on side when it comes to Keystone and Canadian oil in general?
No, it's increasingly a bipartisan support we're seeing, so the answer is yes, Karen. I think even in the letter you referenced, we had 10 governors sign on, who principally along the route of Keystone, so a lot of Republican red states, but also on the press release that covered that particular letter was the governor of Montana, a Democrat, and we see in the House now, and both the House and the Senate, we see at least a few more Democratic support for it. But again, that's why we need to make this case. This pipeline and what it means in terms of the broader sense of getting our energy to market is huge for the differential. Our industry right now is losing billions of dollars. The treasuries of Canada and Alberta and Saskatchewan are losing dollars that we could invest in lower taxes or pay off debt or infrastructure, you name it. This is important. This is an important issue, and Canada has a real chance to continue to grow to be an energy superpower. The Prime Minister said that. We believe that, but we need to act like it, and we hope the rest of the country is also. We think they are very supportive of the fact that we can be an energy power, and in order to be that, you've got to get the energy to market. And so this pipeline, the one to the West Coast, the pipeline issue in general, is very important for the country.
Premier, we've talked politics. Let's talk Hollywood. I guess a bit of a snub from an A-list actor, well, some would say he's A-list, Martin Sheen, specifically to you, sir, saying, "Don't do this." What's your response to him given today's news?
Well, he was in town in the province for a wee day, and so that was welcome that he would come here and do that. It was excellent. But yeah, he did weigh in on the pipeline, and I had that tweeted to me that he had asked me not to do it, and I just made the point on Twitter. You got to have a little bit of fun.
Absolutely.
I actually don't work for Martin Sheen. I work for the people of the province and in the interests of the province. And I really think it's important for us when we get sort of those who maybe they're Hollywood glitterati or other celebrities who are weighing in on pipeline issues. We ought to engage because I wonder if Hollywood, if Daryl Hannah and Robert Redford and Martin Sheen are also worried about maybe not the carbon footprint, but the social footprint that comes with energy from places like the Middle East or from Venezuela. We know the rights denial that occurs in some of those countries that are obviously exporting oil to the U.S. And so we say don't compare Canada to perfection, but compare us to every other place in the world from an environmental standpoint, from a human rights standpoint, just generally as partners in the most successful trade relationship on the face of the earth. But it doesn't seem like some from Hollywood are, as Krusty the Clown once said, it doesn't seem they're interested in the ends of any sentences. So we can't let those things stand.
No doubt. Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall, really do appreciate you being with us.
Thanks, All
right, and that's what's happening.